So it's been a really long time since I've told this story. I haven't actually properly told it since it happened. But for some reason, I just felt really compelled to just share it today. I don't really know why, I just felt like I should. But I guess let's just start from the beginning. It was the early 2000s. I was 10 years old, and I had two best friends who lived in the same suburban neighborhood that I did, Salem and Mira. And we lived there and been neighbors since we were toddlers. So we'd really grown up together like sisters. And this particular suburban area, it was very pristine and clean cut. Like, all the yards were always perfectly trimmed, and all the bushes and hedges were manicured very well. But once you got beyond our little bubble of a suburb, you immediately went from this perfectly manicured area to this wall of tall grass. And then the tall grass led to these woods. And we weren't allowed to go in the woods because it was really easy to get lost in them. There weren't a whole lot of bushes or landmarks or rocks. It was just flat land, and then tall, skinny tree trunks with foliage at the top. And so no matter where you were in the woods, it really just all looked the same. And so we weren't allowed to go in. Our parents didn't want us getting lost. But when we were 10, we had grown up in the suburb for most of our lives. And you know how when you're a very, very, very small kid, not that 10 is old, but say when you're 5 years old, these little areas seem just absolutely massive. They seem so expansive. But then as time moves on, the world that you're used to, you've become so familiar with it that it just it shrinks. It becomes small and familiar, and it can become boring. And so by that age, when we were 10, we were really tired of just spending our time in the same little area. We were tired of the little suburban park. We just knew every inch of it, and there was just nothing to be explored. It was just white noise to us. And so one day we started exploring beyond the suburbs. At first, we just went into the tall grass. Then as the days went on, just like with the suburbs, we just began growing tired of just the tall grass. And so we slowly began venturing into the woods as the days went on. Just at first, just to the mouth of the woods, then maybe only a few yards. But then as with the suburbs and the grass, we just felt this pull to just explore more. Like we wanted to know more about the world, and our world was so small at that time, and the woods seemed so big, and we just wanted to understand it. We wanted to see what was in there. And we came up with this little I guess system of not getting lost. Because our parents had only ever told us that the problem with the woods was that we could get lost, and so we thought if we came up with this plan, then everything would be okay. And so we had this like fluorescent blue yarn, and we would tie it every few trees so that we could easily find our way back to the suburb, and we wouldn't get lost. And we thought that that would be fine. We thought that we had solved the problem. We thought that that was the only danger in those woods. We hadn't ever heard of any animals being out there. We hadn't heard of any like weird people being out there. We didn't hear of anything like that happening. And so we thought that everything was fine. And throughout that year, at least up until autumn, we had a great time exploring the woods, and nothing did happen. But then that autumn, something did. Um it it started out like any other day. I remember I remember that it was like a pretty crisp morning. It was like nice and chilly out. We all had our like fall jackets on, sweaters, and the foliage was really really pretty. Like all the leaves had started like falling, and the forest floor or the woods floor had a lot of leaves on it. And I guess that made everything look even more similar. And we were just adventuring into the woods, and this time when we were going in, we went a little bit further than before. And we saw this tiny cottage, and we'd never heard of anyone living out in these woods. We were always told that it was just like vacant woods. And we cautiously started getting a little bit closer to the cottage. It was we thought it was really cute. It was really old, worn. It became clear that once we had gotten close to it, it had been abandoned. It had yellow chipped painting, and beneath that we could see chipped rotting wood. And it had what was probably once white trim, but it really was quite dirty at that point. We didn't see it was hooked up to any sort of electric poles or anything. Once we were close enough, we kind of peeked through the windows, and it was just really old and abandoned looking. But we still thought it was really cool. We thought maybe it could be our new clubhouse or something like that. And so we decided to explore, and when we went inside, I mean, we could see through the window that someone had still, like, left a bunch of stuff in there, but the things that were in there were in a state which showed that they had just up and left, and that the stuff there was probably, like, 100 years old, or I don't know, maybe more. Um, Everything that was metal was just completely rusted and broken. The wood was rotting. We had to be careful where we stepped to not fall through the floors. Um, but we thought it was really cool. We thought all the old stuff was interesting. I remember it was two rooms. One of them was the bathroom, but we couldn't go in it because the floor was completely rotted through. And so we just stuck to the main room, and we just started exploring and going through like old drawers and things. We found pictures, old pictures, and just trinkets from another time. And we just thought it was really neat. And then I remember Mira going over and like moving like this pile of fabric or something like that, and underneath she found this sleeping bag and a men's shirt, like a button up flannel shirt that looked newer than everything else in the cabin. And we thought that was really weird, and we became really uneasy, and so we like picked up our backpacks to get ready to go because we didn't feel comfortable there anymore after that. And then I remember as I was grabbing my bag, there was this really pretty like mirror. It was like an oval mirror with like wood carvings around the edge. It had like flowers in it. And I remember as I was grabbing my bag, something caught my eye in the mirror. It was across from the back window. God, I just, uh, God, I remember just seeing this person, this man, and I was just frozen. I, I let out like a shriek, and it got my friend's attention, and they saw him too. I didn't know what to do. He was just standing at the window, just staring through the mirror. She was staring at the mirror at us. And his eyes were just like, I don't know, they were just completely empty and vacant. There was just nothing there. Like no emotion. It was like looking into the eyes of a dead person. And his mouth was just like like pulled into this strained smile, but I don't know, you could see all the muscles in his mouth and his neck tensed because he was just opening his mouth so widely and his teeth were showing, and I don't know, it's like his mouth was like kind of open. It was just I d- I hadn't seen anyone actually make that face before, and I didn't quite know what it meant, but I knew it wasn't good. Neither of us knew what was happening. He wasn't right. We knew that he wasn't right. And he was like motionless. He just stared at us making this face. He stared at us with these dead eyes. And we just we didn't know what to do. We were so scared, and I remember grabbing the mirror off the wall so he couldn't look at us. And we sat in such a way that he couldn't see us through the window. And we just sat there for the longest time. And we didn't say anything. We just sat there. And we hoped he'd go away. And eventually we took the mirror that I grabbed and we angled it in such a way to where we could look up at the window to see if he was still there. And when we looked into it, I don't know how he knew that we were doing that, but he was looking right into the mirror. He was looking right at us. It was like he was inescapable. I don't know how he knew. And I remember that we were hysterical at that point because it felt like it had been a long time and he was still there. And we didn't know. We didn't know what to do. I don't we were just 10. We were just little kids and we didn't know. We didn't know what to do. We were scared. It was just I don't we regretted so much leaving the area that we were supposed to go. Our parents didn't know where we were. They had no idea. There was no one looking for us. And our parents were used to us staying the night at each other's houses, and they were always really busy, and sometimes they forgot to like check in with each other's parents to make sure that we were where we were supposed to be. They just trusted us because we've been doing this for so long. And so we were really scared because we didn't know when anyone would be looking for us, and no one knew that we were out in the woods. We didn't know how much time we had because I mean he was just standing there now, but we didn't know if he was going to keep standing there. We figured that that was probably where he slept, and it was his sleeping bag and his shirt that we found, and he probably wanted in. And I forgot to mention, but we did lock the door. Salem locked the door when I grabbed the mirror, so we were locked in at that point. But it was like a like not very sturdy house that we were in. It was all rotten. The lock was just like this like wooden latch thing that could easily be kicked down. And so we didn't feel safe, but we didn't know what to do. We grabbed some like objects that we thought could work as weapons, but if he did come in, but we were just 10 years old and he was like a grown man. So we were still scared because we didn't know if he had like a knife or a gun. We didn't know because we could just see his face. We could just see his shoulders. We could just see that he wasn't right. And he knew we were there. and he was actively seeking out to look at us, to see us. He was very interested in us. And we periodically we look at the mirror to see if he was still there. And he was. And it was weird. When we would look at him in the mirror for a split second before, he was always looking at our direction. But a split second before we put the mirror up, he would just have a completely dead face, and then his lips, when the mirror would come at him, would just pull into that face, so we could just see his big yellow teeth glaring back at us. I remember it started getting darker, and just we were just really scared. We were just crying. We tried screaming for hours that day, and no one heard us. We were just too far away. We had just gone out too far. Or like our voices, like, they were just like completely beat up. Our throats were sore from screaming so much. And it was dark, and I remember just this feeling of like complete hopelessness. I remember feeling like there was just nothing we could do. Like we had just made this little mistake. And because of that, like it was just over. Like there was no way out. It was like our fate was sitting like right there. But by us waiting, it was like we were just like we were just waiting for what was going to happen. I don't know. Um and then I remember we started like hearing this like tapping noise. It was like tapping on glass. And when we looked in the mirror this time, he was just tapping on the glass, just looking the same, but just tapping on the glass. And then slowly the tapping evolved, and it was like all of his fingers, and he had these like big, long, just dirty brown and black fingernails. And then he was just like scraping them against the window, just like slowly at first, and then he started just like scratching really really quickly. And we started screaming as loud as we could again. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. We knew that things were getting worse. We knew that he wasn't just going to stand there forever. We knew that something was going to happen. And then suddenly the scratching stopped. And I remember I was so scared that time to look in the mirror. I didn't want to look in the mirror. I didn't know what was going to happen next because I knew that something bad was coming. We all knew something bad was coming. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw that there wasn't anyone in the window anymore. And I remember being more scared about that than him being in the mirror because we didn't know where he was. He could be at the front door just waiting to kick it down. We didn't know what was coming. But we knew there was something. And everything was really still and quiet for I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes. And then we just started hearing these weird rustling sounds under the house, like creaks under the house. And I remember it was all really fast. That didn't happen for very long. What happened quickly was that all of a sudden the bathroom door just like burst open and he was there. I remember him just standing there and he was like screaming like some kind of an animal and I remember you could like smell him. He just like reeked of like body odor and I don't know, just like oil and body odor and just dirt and just so many just putrid things. You just smell rotten. And and then I don't remember much after that. I remember a few things, but I don't remember how everything happened and I felt so bad. I wish I could have remembered more. But what I remember is I remember going to the door. I remember unlocking it. Um I remember running as quickly as I could through the forest. I don't remember hearing anything over the I remember hearing my heartbeat and I remember hearing my own breath because I was breathing really really heavily and my heart was pounding really fast and I remember hearing the leaves crunching underneath my feet as I ran. I was focused on the blue neon yarn to get me back to my house. I remember just following that. Was just hyper focused on the yarn and nothing else. I ran and I ran and it simultaneously felt like I was running just at the speed of light but also like in place. Like I don't know how to explain it. It felt like I wasn't going anywhere but I was also like just moving so quickly. And I remember I remember finally getting to the suburb and I remember getting to my front porch. Going I remember opening the front door and I remember just collapsing on uh, in my front entryway. And I just remember just like sobbing. And my mom, she came out of the kitchen or somewhere. She was wearing an apron, so I guess probably she was cooking and she was understandably very concerned. And she tried to ask me what was wrong, but I was completely incoherent at that point. Um I tried so hard to tell her what was wrong. Because at that point I realized that Mira and Salem weren't with me. They weren't with me, and I tried to tell her. I tried so hard, but I it took so long for her to be able to decipher at least that Mira and Salem were missing in the woods and there was a man. And as soon as she understood that, she called the police, and they were there within, I think, 10 minutes. Their station was pretty close, and they were there, and they immediately just had volunteers and policemen, and they were all just searching the woods and the suburbs. They checked to see if Salem and Mira were at their houses, and they weren't. And I tried telling them everything I could, but it was really hard because at that point I was in shock. I didn't. It felt really unreal. It felt like when you wake up from a bad dream, and you still feel all the feelings from the bad dream, but the bad dream isn't happening anymore. But the bad dream wasn't a bad dream, and it was happening. They searched the woods that whole night, and they didn't find Mira and Salem. And then they searched it for weeks after, and they never found them. They didn't find anything. They didn't find any pieces of cloth from their clothes. They didn't find their backpacks. They didn't find any blood. They never found anything. They were just like evaporated. And I just feel so guilty. Because I ran out so fast. I don't remember anything, but maybe I could have like pulled one of them with me or both of them with me. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. I don't remember hearing them. They, I don't I, I don't know what I could have done, but I feel like I could have done something. It was like I couldn't think though. It was like I just reacted, and because of that they're gone, and I don't know. I don't it's really hard to look back on. That's why I haven't told the story. It's because I miss my friends, and I don't know what would have happened if I had just been able to react better than that. Oh my god. It wasn't long after that we moved. We moved in a more busy area where there weren't any woods. And I haven't gone on the woods since. I never want to go in the woods again.